Hey everyone, it's me, Gavin Vengeance, and welcome back to MyXP. Today I want to talk to you guys about a very divisive Breath of Fire game, and that is Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter for the PlayStation 2. A lot of people love to hate this game, and to be honest with you, I can remember actually first seeing this game. I don't remember seeing any marketing material for it whatsoever, but I was actually at summer cadet camp, and we took a trip into the town that was nearby. We went to a mall, and I actually went to an EB Games, which is here in Canada, but known as GameStop, I guess, elsewhere. And I remember seeing, like, this game in the bargain bin, and just being like, what the hell? Another Breath of Fire game? Why didn't I know about this? Because I was really, like, into Breath of Fire at that time, and played through every other iteration of the game, and I was just like, okay, all of these other entries are, like, amazing. So why is this one immediately in a bargain bin, and why is it not on the shelf for, you know, full retail price? Like, you're used to seeing games, especially games that you didn't realize were out. So I found it very strange. I was like, okay, that's odd. That's kind of red flag, but I'll check it out anyways. So I remember, like, picking up the game and looking at, like, the art and everything, and just being like, okay, I guess Capcom's going cel-shaded with this for whatever reason. And it looked very different. I can remember, like, wondering to myself, like, why doesn't Ryu have, like, bright blue hair? And why does Nina look like a very sickly child? And who's this other character that kind of looks like Cat? But I remember, yeah, just picking up the game and just being like, okay, I have to pick it up. It's Breath of Fire. I gotta play through this game. Really want to see what it's all about. So I remember, like, buying the game. I think it was only like $29 or something when I got it, and I remember, like, going back to cadet camp, and the thing about it is that we were so busy throughout the week at cadet camp that we didn't really get a whole lot of time to, like, go out and play video games or anything, and the place that we had to play video games was only, like, this one little cafeteria, and there was, like, a little side area that had one PlayStation 2, so I didn't have any memory card or anything like that, and when I first, like, played the game, I might have only got through, like, the very first, like, couple of tunnels, and I was like, yeah, I don't really know if I like this game, and I was very much alongside everybody else's opinion, which was like, what the hell did Capcom do? They changed Breath of Fire, and this is not a good game. But again, I didn't really get to play a whole lot of it at that time, so I had to wait a couple of weeks before I actually got home. And when I got home and I had access to my memory card and everything, played through a little bit more of the game until I eventually ended up, like, dying, and I was like, okay, so this is extremely difficult, and it's kind of forcing me to restart my file, which I was very, like, thrown off by. So when I eventually, like, started playing the game and I got to that point, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done with this. I don't think this is the type of Breath of Fire game I want to play, and I'm certainly not happy by it. So what I ended up doing was just, like, shoving it aside on the shelf of other games, and I was like, okay, I'll play something else. And I remember it was a couple of, like, months afterwards before I was like, maybe I should give this game another chance. It is Breath of Fire. I do kind of want to see what happens in the game. As much as I didn't really like the battle system, or, you know, the whole, like, dragon counter limitation, and the fact that it was extremely difficult, and at the point in time that I was playing this game, I was probably only, like, 16, 17 years old or something. So I was like, you know what, this is really going to be difficult for me to get through, but I am determined to get through this game. So I had to find something that I liked about it, and when I was actually playing through the game, I did realize that I really liked the character dialogue, and I liked a lot of the story elements. I like this, I don't really want to call it scenery, but the atmosphere of the game, because the scenery is very limited. I mean, you're literally underground for the entirety of the game. The most that you're seeing in difference is the walls change from, like, cave-looking type walls or whatever to tunnels, and, like, I don't know, a little bit more industrial, like, settings, or inside of a building or whatever, I guess. So it's not really, like, the most pretty game, but it kind of ties into the story as well in terms of, like, how grim it's supposed to feel, and it's really a tale of, like, chasing your dreams, because essentially what you have to do is get Nina to safety, or at least better air quality, so that way, you know, she doesn't end up, like, dying, And that's pretty much Ryu and Lin's mission is, you know, to help reach the surface, which apparently is a myth in this world. Nobody really knows if the sky exists, and that's pretty much your incentive is like, okay, we have to get her to better air quality so that way she can continue to live. And that's a really, really good basis for a story. I really liked it. It was completely different at the time. And I remember that was definitely the driving factor for me to actually stay determined and actually get through this game that I wasn't really too fond of. So, again, with the battle system, they completely changed everything. It had a really, like, Quest 64 feel to it, where you have, like, a limited range that you could, like, traverse with your characters. So you're actually, like, controlling your characters and moving them around in battle. It's more strategic, I guess, in a way, because each step you take drains your AP bar, and you only have a limited amount of AP. However, if you wait or you don't use all of your AP during your turn, you actually store up a set amount, so that way you can have pretty much 2 full AP bars in total that you can actually use or expend to position your characters or combo together different attacks or skills that you actually set on your character. So instead of like learning skills from leveling up and everything, you actually find them in like treasure chests and stuff, and different weapons come pre-slotted with them or locked into place, and you pretty much get to customize like which abilities you want to have on that weapon. So then you have like certain combos available to you to use depending on which abilities you have slotted. And I know that sounds really complex, but it's not. It's a really neat mechanic, but it's not something that I'm like a huge fan of. However, the one thing I can say about it is that it was really nice to actually go and play around with a lot of these abilities to find out combos and see which combos actually had like an area of effect to them or had stronger attack power whenever you did combo together like two attacks. So it was really cool to actually play around with that. Outside of that, I'm not really a huge fan of the battle system, like being able to like place traps or pick up items or treasure chests or whatever that dropped during the battle. It was different, completely different for me. I'm so used to like turn-based combat at this time that I was like, I don't really know if I like it. And then again, with the whole dragon counter limitation, can't really use your dragon ability for the majority of the game. And if you do use it, you have to use it extremely sparingly, because once that counter hits 100%, game over. Start over again. And that's not really fun for anyone. So again, I'm not really a huge fan of a lot of the systems in this game. They did bring back the fairy village. That was kind of cool. However, the fairy village in this game was more like ant tunnels, and it was different, but it's essentially the fairy village mechanic that was also present in Breath of Fire 3, Breath of Fire 4, with a little twist on it. And there was also a 100 floor dungeon that was part of that area, I guess. So that was neat. But again, not really fun if you don't enjoy the combat system. The audio in the game was really good. A lot of the soundtrack is good and actually like really fits the scenarios in a lot of cases. And some of the songs definitely do get stuck in your head. However, a lot of them are kind of just background noise, I guess. So the audio, again, is not the strongest soundtrack in the series. Graphics aren't really the strongest in the series. Story is pretty strong. If anything, that's probably the most worthwhile aspect, in my opinion, to Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. But outside of that, I mean, the game doesn't really have a whole lot else to offer, unless you're somebody who's really into like challenging content, or something that's, you know, a little bit more difficult, rather than something that you can just kind of breeze through like Breath of Fire 4. So there's definitely that aspect to it. And I know there's a lot of people that like speedrun these games or try to do like low-level runs and everything, and my hat's off to them, because that stuff is extremely difficult. It's hard enough to play through this game normally or with grinding than it is, you know, to do like a speedrun of any sort. And that's another thing too. I guess it kind of eliminates a whole lot of like grinding in this game, considering you're constantly on a timer with that dragon counter. But there's a lot of other things that you need to do in order to get like a high ranking, because whenever you beat this game, you get assigned a ranking based on like how well you did, or how many times you saved your game, and just a bunch of other things. And that's another thing as well, the saving in this game. It's like they brought over the Resident Evil mechanic where you kind of need to use consumables to save your game. That was completely weird to me as well. But there was a quick save function. It's just the fact that whenever you use your quick save, obviously you can't, you know, go back to that file once you load that file at that time, so you have to make another quick save again eventually. But Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, I initially hated the game. I really didn't think I'd be able to play through it. I remember getting through the game, seeing the ending, experiencing the story, really like getting to know the characters, which the cast obviously, again, was very limited this time around. But even like the villains, they really love to make you hate the villain in this game. At least one of the main villains in this game. And yeah, man, it was quite an experience for me. And after a few years, I kind of ended up starting to like Dragon Quarter, and I don't really have that like disdain for it anymore. So that's something that I can say, is that the game kind of grew on me for sure. I don't really consider it a Breath of Fire game in a sense, but I kind of see where they were going with it. I think that maybe if they would have just like rebranded this the game and named it something else entirely, like if they would have just called it Dragon Quarter without affixing Breath of Fire to it, I think maybe people would have had a little bit more understanding for it, rather than just being like, oh, it's supposed to be a Breath of Fire game, this is garbage, which is pretty much the general consensus around this game from what I've seen at least. But yeah, if I had to recommend anything with Dragon Quarter, it's at least play through the game, experience the story once, if at all, and I think you'll probably have a little bit better of a appreciation for what the developers were trying to do. And I think that they were a little bit more ahead of their time in a lot of aspects with this game than we give them credit for, I guess. So Capcom, if you're gonna make another Breath of Fire game, I don't know if I'd recommend you going this route exactly, but I see what you were trying to do. I see you were trying to like push the envelope with this, and hopefully when or if we get another Breath of Fire game, it'll be something that's going to be completely unique again. Want my opinion, completely rebrand the series, go action combat with it. I know I'm probably going to get flack for that, but I think that's probably the route that they should take. For example, something along the lines of what Final Fantasy VII Remake is looking to be. So, anywho, that's my experience with Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter for the PlayStation 2. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, and that's pretty much going to end off my entire hashtag BringBackBOF series. I know it's been a long time coming for this video, and I kind of kept putting it off, but I had a lot of stuff going on. The holidays and everything have been like stupid busy. Stupid busy. Anywho, I'm leaving it in there. I don't care. If you want to see me revisit the Breath of Fire series, which I probably will be doing hopefully soon in the future, with the GBA titles, which I haven't played through yet, and I'm really anxious to see exactly what has changed in those games, then you can definitely check out my gameplay over on twitch.tv/Gavin_vengeance. That's the plug. And yeah, man, for the most part, I'm going to be over there streaming RPG games throughout the week. Beginning days of the week, right now, I've just been playing like Apex Legends, which is more shooting game, FPS stuff, Battle Royale, or whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, that's still going to be the meat and potatoes of my channel. It's just going to be RPG content and revisiting games that I played through in the past. So you're more than welcome to stop over there to hang out. Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Next one, I have no idea what it's going to be about, but it's probably going to be Final Fantasy Tactics, I guess, considering I'm getting towards the end of that on my playthrough over on Twitch. Look forward to it, and thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check me out over on Twitch as well, man. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great day, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.